Congratulations on making it through the entire material for Unit 5. I hope that at this stage you're beginning to feel a much deeper understanding for why is it that economists think that markets are a very good way of solving allocation problems in many circumstances. And this is based on the key result of the course, which is this first welfare theorem that we have covered. Now, you should also have gained an understanding of what are the key assumptions underlying competitive markets that make the first theorem hold, and a little bit of a glimpse of what we're going to cover later, which is what happens with those assumptions like perfect competition or no externalities get violated. The other thing that you should have gained during this unit is a beginning understanding, a beginning set of insights about what are the tools that we can use to really measure the effects of government policy, and some initial insights about the impacts on taxation on the economy. Now, so far clearly in this unit, we have only focused on efficiency, which is a very desirable feature for evaluating the performance of markets of government policy, but not the only thing that we care about. In particular, we also care about distribution. Next unit, we're gonna take a very deep insight into what happens with respect to distribution. In other words, what are the distributional properties of market outcomes and of different government policies. As always, let me highlight a few concepts that I think are useful committing to long-term memory. The first one is this idea of Pareto optimality, which is the way economists think about efficiency. And the idea is that a feasible allocation, alpha, is Pareto optimal if there doesn't exist another allocation, another feasible allocation beta that has the following properties: ui of beta I is greater than ui of alpha I for some I, and ui of beta I is greater or equal than ui of alpha I for all I. In other words, the move from alpha to beta makes somebody strictly better off, at least one person, without hurting anyone. Now, the other thing that we saw is that with respect to Pareto optimality is that Pareto optimality is basically equivalent to maximizing the social surplus over allocations over alpha feasible. So if you ever need to compute a Pareto optimal allocation and you forget the conditions that we study, for example, you can solve the problem this way. The second, and I'm going to put it in red and highlight it in a box, and I wish I could sing a good song to it to commit it to your memory, is the first welfare theorem. And the idea here is that the allocations generated by competitive markets are Pareto optimal. And the third thing is a first insight about taxes, which we saw that lump sum taxes redistribute without introducing inefficiencies, and non-lump sum taxes are distortionary, i.e. they have a deadweight loss greater than 0.